we're going to completely ignore the fact that I stood here trying to figure out what the word "come car" means before realising it's written in Portuguese. It's alright though. I like this. This is cute. Right, I begin on the menu screen so that you can see the name of the game for yourself, because I am dreadful with leet speak. So, there it is. I shan't introduce it. I shall simply say, hello. This is very serene, but also horrifically unsafe. Oh good, and probably copyrighted music. The joys. Okay, driving this fast in fog is dangerous. Not even looking where you're going while doing it is practically suicidal. I can't read a word of that. Is that how you park? By just power sliding into a tree? Okay, fair enough then. Ah, the radio is dead. What a dreadful shame. Okay then. Never mind about the dead radio. Well, thank you. Please wait, changing scene. Wonderful. Right. Do I have any taste in cars? No. No, I don't. But it's alright. Never mind. Anyway, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this little game. Interact with left mouse button. It is locked.
Hey, just got your message. Wish I'd woken up early so I could at least try to stop you. You must be miles away by now. Dude, I told you not to mess with this. I would be a liar if I said that I truly believe in all this junk. I get it. You want some answers? There's some really weird stuff going on all around you. But are you really doing this? Wandering around at night, in the middle of nowhere, searching for a ritual that you don't even know if actually exists? Man,
something to do with your afternoon, isn't it?
Think about it. Why would that be a code in such a small place like this? I don't know. I don't know what's happening to you. You are not the kind of person who would believe these stupid rumors. I hope you're okay. Honestly, I just think you're being paranoid. Just try not to get arrested. I don't know. I'll just go back to sleep.
I think that is best, you long voicemail creating individual. Right, it would appear I have run out of power for my big piece of mould cheese which ejects light out of it very occasionally. Never mind. Right, okay. I think, judging by my driving abilities, that I am most certainly the kind of person that would go off gallivanting on such a bizarre adventure. Right, what are we here? Locals report strange activity in the cemetery at night. On Sunday night, March 2nd, residents of the region noticed the abnormal activity in the graveyards outside opening hours. According to reports, strange noises and sinister music could be heard near the place. Other residents also claim to have seen hooded figures entering the graveyards at different times in the early hours of Sunday. Local gravedigger who resides behind the graveyard was asked about said activity, and said it's been some time since he found there is in fact something suspicious going on. He also says he has been having nightmares since the end of last month. It has been a while since I've been having the same nightmare, just a shadow on the shape of a big horned creature. Dearie me, having big horny dreams is purely unacceptable, man, and writing about it in a newspaper as well. Goodness, children might be reading. I have heard noises coming from the graveyard, but I didn't dare to investigate. The administration has also been suspicious, but they always say there is nothing wrong with the place, and it was just probably some teenagers, well, they probably would be wearing hoods, knowing teenagers, who might have invaded the place, just wanting to have some fun. How could you have fun in a graveyard in the middle of the night? It would be freezing cold and full of ghosts. People have strange definitions of fun. Despite the explanations, some religious residents asked for a mass to be organised by the church at the cemetery to purify the place. Astrology, it probably isn't true. City receives great flow of tourists. They're probably not going to die. Right. Okay. Oh, I have one of these chargy-uppy torches. I had one of these when I was a kid. That's kind of cool. That's good. I was about to start complaining about the batteries and how difficult it was going to be to actually see anything in this place. Right, let us see what we have in here. Let us not see what we have in here. We shall see what we have in here later, possibly. Okie dokie. Nice bit of corrugated shed roof. That's the word I'm looking for, and it was so difficult to say that it wasn't even worth saying in the first place. The hell is that noise? Who's spilling beads everywhere? And who are you? Hello? What's up there that you're so interested in, my friend? My word. A face only a mother could love. Oh, my word. Okay, right. And... oh, perhaps she is a mother herself. I'm sorry, what was that? You want to run that noise past me again, friend? I didn't quite catch that. I was too busy drivelling on about rubbish. Okay. Is this like a bit like a morgue, where they have great big drawers full of corpses? And I can't seem to interact with them. Me and my big mouth. Hello, I need a distraction. It won't let me take the medallion. Oh, okay. Sorry, Mel. Didn't realise you were quite so interested in this medallion. Oh, there's another key here. I might have that, except you have to press different keys for different buttons. Where's this medallion? Is it in the bowl? Potentially. Okay. Right. Hang on. It's surprising. It's a surprisingly good animation. What is certainly striking me as being a very simple little thing. But the atmosphere is quite nice. Sort of the combination of the different sounds. It all sort of works together quite well. Right, can I open this now? No. Perhaps it is the door to the front of the building rather than the door to the back. Please don't breathe on me, mate. I've already got one infection in my throat. I don't need another one. Right, okay. Can I open this? No? Okay. So the key doesn't go to, this. What? What? Hang on. Why is this one green? All the others are... oh, no, they're not. They're not all grey. Some of them are green. Sorry. I was seeing importance where none existed. Okay, so the area was relatively small. There's another gate here. Could I go out here? It's unlocked now. Yeah, here we are. So that means it was locked before, but that key I got presumably opened it. I have a pumpy torch, and I am not afraid to use it. You spooky twig snapping people. Anything in here? Put soul key. Oh, I mean just naturally. Okay, so I'm looking for a soul key. Right, didn't realise I'd started playing Skyrim, but alright. Oh, hello. Oh well, it's a thing that exists. Ah, here we are. Oh, there's a bone. Ooh, a bone. I could use this to bludgeon somebody, or potentially just distract that dog. Okay, so is this the house of the caretaker that they were, or the grave digger, I think they said it was, that they mentioned before? Can I sprint? No, I can't. That means we've got a very long walk back to where Mel lives. But alright. I'm also slightly confused why the dog's bowl is all the way over there. Presumably the dog belongs to the gravekeeper, to the grave digger, rather, or the groundskeeper, or whatever you want to call him. Presumably the dog belongs to him, so why wouldn't he keep the food bowl near his house? Mind you, if the dog likes eating medallions, then maybe he doesn't like keeping it near the house in case the dog accidentally eats his teapot. But who knows these things? Can I give you the bone? Give bone to dog? Yes. Hooray. I am surprised that that actually worked. Bronze medallion. I shall have this thing, and I have no idea why. But alright. Never mind. Let's see if I can guess the correct direction to go in. Oh, there's a spade there. Looks like this grave has been disturbed recently. There is a mushroom. I think. Oh no, I think it's meant to be a bouquet of flowers, except it's the colour of chocolate, which is a bit bizarre. It's stuck in the ground. It seems like it was used recently. Yes, I'm getting that impression from this. What do we have here? The Illumination Graveyard's gravedigger found dead at his residence. Kids who used to play behind the cemetery found his body inside his house. We're not going to try and pronounce his name because we will undoubtedly insult every single person that speaks this language by mispronouncing it horribly, and I don't want to do that. According to them, who used to play every day at the same time, the gravedigger always showed up here and there and was very helpful. They found it strange when the old man did not appear when they called him and decided to enter his house. That scared me. Finding his body faint on the sofa in the living room. The house was open and there were no signs of burglary. The gravedigger's body showed no signs of struggle and was next to a bottle of wine. It was believed the cause of death may have been sudden illness, intoxication, or food poisoning by the wine. Suicide is also suspected. The police are investigating the case. We tried contacting the graveyard administrator, but no response, which makes the death of the employee very suspicious. The day before his death, the undertaker reported the weird behavior from his superiors, which further increases suspicion of murder. The body will be autopsied, and there is no set date for his funeral. The victim's friends and families were informed of the sad loss, and they asked for justice. If you see, I'm guessing these are the names of the superiors of the graveyard company. Contact the police due to investigations into his death and disappearance of the administrators. Oh, they've disappeared, have they? The Illumination Graveyard is out of operation for the time being. Scheduled burials are being delayed, and it's recommended for some of the And it is recommended for some to be transferred to other cemeteries. Internet game becomes a trend with teenagers and scares it. Funny. Funny game. Right, how the hell do I get this thing to come on before? There we are. So is this the grave of the gravedigger, perhaps? Oh, there's another key there. I shall have this. If this opens the door to the gravedigger's house, I think that will pretty much support the theory that that is the grave of the digger. Because it seems like if they weren't digging any new graves or allowing any additional burials in the graveyard, but that one was relatively recent, so it must have been somebody special. No, well, never mind. There goes my theory about whether that was going to open the gravedigger's house. Okay, then. Presumably this will open the building in the middle of the graveyard, which is probably some sort of a church where services could be held before or after burials took place in the grounds. Okay. Let's just check the back and front door, and suddenly realise this blue strip, which I feel wasn't here before, but is a bit suspicious given that it's far too brightly coloured and cheerful to be in this rather sad place. But alright. Yay! Oh, hello again. Do you want a smooch? Biggest probably shouldn't smooch you given that I've got a throat infection at the moment, but never mind. Demons have excellent immune systems, perhaps? Who knows? Right. A silver medallion. Alright, I shall have this. What? I can't read, but something is familiar about this image. What, you mean you just can't read full stop, or you can't read the... You can't read the language? Oh, goodness, no, I can't read that either. It looks like Egyptian hieroglyphs. It's a little bit like Medusa. I don't think this is the right kind of candle. The right kind of candle for what exactly? I feel a little nervous. What kind of ritual are you planning on doing in here that requires a candle? And requires a specific type of candle, no less. Now this door is in the middle of the building, versus the door at the back of the church was off to the left hand side, so I'm guessing there is another room at the back there that I can make use of, or I can access rather, which might contain some more interesting things. So the question is what I do with these medallions, because I've got a bronze one from the dog and I've got a silver one from the church. They must be used somewhere, unless they're just collectibles, but that seems highly unlikely. Otherwise, what would be the point of interacting with the dog or the church? That's mysterious. I'm not sure what to do next. I'm going to go back out towards the gravedigger's house and see if I missed anything around there, or whether there might be anything else in the forest that I could go off and access. We're still waiting to do this as well. I'd forgotten about this. Find the soul key. That seems like quite a final thing. Sort of mysterious basement under the underneath the graveyard. My windy uppy torch, my humpy pumpy torch worked a lot better than this dreadful one. But never mind about my lamentations. Give me a moment and I shall figure out what it is we are doing next. Oh, for goodness sake. If there is one moment you do not interrupt a man with a jump scare, it is when he is having a drink of water. That could have gone far worse than it actually did. But alright. Never mind. I still haven't figured out what we're doing or where we're going. Dear. I haven't been to like this area, this part of the graveyard yet. I haven't looked around this sort of zone, this little quadrant if you like. So potentially... Oh, this again. I'd forgotten about this for a few blissful minutes. Forgotten about how breathy this talkative gentleman gets. There's a candle in there. A different type of candle than the one we saw in the other one. So if we were looking for a replacement candle, that might be the one, but I can't access it. I can't seem to jump onto this thing to get closer to that in order to try and interact with it. So, are there more candles than any of these other ones? No. Some of these, they strike me almost more like tombs than graves. I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe they're either very old ones, very ancient graves, or whether it's a cultural thing. We certainly don't have anything like that around here. Ah. You know, Phil, maybe once in a blue moon you might try looking under your frickin' nose for what you're looking for, but never mind. A dark fire candle, that sounds cool. I like the sound of that. Small copper key. Okay, can I switch the candles out? No. But I have a candle now. Does the key go to this place? Yes, it does. Excellent. And I was correct about my theory. That is not a very well hidden secret passage, but never mind. The scratches seem to indicate the wardrobe is moved off. Yeah, I twigged that much myself. The doors are struck as if it has never been used before. Oh, alright then, these are locked. Possibly we can find another key for that. Can I move this? Can I move it with my big head? That's all I could pretty much use my head for, given that I certainly can't use it for thinking. Right. Hello? Who are you? You just look like the vice president of some company or something. I'm not entirely sure why you'd be in a church. Surely a church should have like religious imagery in it. Or at the very least these, yeah, like that, for example. Not just like a stock photo guy that works at a printing company. Okay, what do we have here? Piece 1. I suppose I shall have this. Oh, gosh, weird diagram. No freaking kidding. So, you're saying that this symbol goes here. And then maybe the other symbols go there. And then this weird sort of ram-headed version of this Da Vinci diagram goes in the middle. Meeting of the Enlightenment Esoteric Order. Subject of extreme importance. That would be a great way of heading up an important email, wouldn't it? I'm going to start using that myself. This meeting aims to organize the preparation for the main reason of our organization, the summoning of our supreme leader, Balachora. Some names of some people who I feel like were mentioned as having disappeared in between hiccups in that newspaper article we were reading. Excuse me, I am attempting to conduct business in here. I do not have time to answer the door. Never mind, it would appear that they have left. They heard how cross I got and left. It is stuck with wax. So many of these seem to be stuck, so potentially I need to collect up the candles which aren't stuck. All of these seem to be stuck. These ones aren't though. We shall have these. We shall have this little key as well. Many volumes of the same occult book. Okay, seems like a little reading club here. And an hourglass. I suppose I'll have this as well, because why not? Okay, that is still locked. So the only other door which I know of is the door of the gravedigger's house. So let me trot off over there and see if I can unlock his house now. And potentially we will find some more items in there. Because what it seems like is we're building up the story and we're collecting a number of items which are all going to come together in some kind of little puzzle. Like the candles, medallions, the forgetting to pump, the pumpy pump, and that weird diagram that we saw before. No, the key doesn't go here either. Where does the key go then? I don't know any other locked places. Most mysterious. I suppose I'm going to have to wander around again for a bit longer. Oh. This is the thing I can do with my afternoon, is it? Okay. Okay. Nice feature. Nice feature. I like it. I like it very much. Oh, this was locked. And now it isn't. Hooray. Right. What have we here? Certificate of death. Occurrence type, suspicious. Cause of death, poisoning. Affiliated, mother and father, age 62. Yeah, this is of the gravedigger. Place of occurrence, own residence behind illumination graveyard. Okay, so it just says he was poisoned. It doesn't give any more details than that. It doesn't state whether it was suicide and he poisoned himself, or whether he was poisoned by somebody attempting to murder him. We've got another key now, and again, presuming it doesn't open the back of this church, which I'm pretty sure would be pointless to open now, because it would just lead us to, it would just lead us around to an area we can already access by going in through the front. And since that key was next to a document which referred to the graveyard and the graveyard's residence, the grave digger's residence, if I could get my words the correct way around. I'm hoping that this key will open his room, and we can find out just what sort of debauchery he kept hidden away in this windowless little apartment. Yay, I was correct. Right, here is the wine. Here is the dinner. This bread has been here for quite a long time. It is stuck to the plate. Oh, goodness. Some wine. That's not stuck to the plate, but I'm still not interested in it. Got a few more candles. A little note here. Silence is your weapon. 5 dark fire candles, old brick powder, and desert sand have been scratched out. And then beware of this symbol, which was on the top of that little Da Vinci diagram we saw on the other page. Well, here's the powder we needed, and a second bit of something. Right, okay. Well, I've got the powder now, if I need it. I don't know if I need the desert sand or not, whether I should leave those things behind. Again, I can sit. I don't know what purpose this serves. But I've got the powder now, if I should need it. The ingredients. Number 2 preparations. Draw the shape below using brick powder. Put 1 candle in each tip of the pentagram, and then put the sand in the middle, and then enter the circle. But it said this was the symbol I should be aware of. Beware of. There's the hourglass, which I've got from earlier. I don't know if that will be useful for something. What is this? A copper medallion. Okay, so we've got 3 of them now. And many spooky pokey noises. Open this drawer? No. Okay. So, this is locked. I'm still looking for a key for this. I haven't found the desert sand. And I'm pretty sure I found enough of the candles. So I just need to figure out where I am supposed to set up this ritual. Presumably it's going to be in the basement. But I haven't got a soul key. Unless that's what those medallions are for, but how could 3 medallions open something that it says it needs a soul key for? That just wouldn't make any sense. That would be downright silly! No, good. It would have been even sillier if it worked, because then I'd look like a right idiot. But never mind. Okay, so what next? What do I do with these medallions? And where do I set up this ritual? Oh, guess you had an inventory this entire time and never realised. So these pieces, they seem to be part of a bigger object. Something is written on it, but it's incomplete. You know, this looks like it could form the shape of a pyramid, perhaps. I feel like this might be the soul key, if we can find enough of the pieces and bring them all together. I reckon that might be the soul key. How many of these candles have I got? I do have 5, okay. I've got the hourglass. Oh, I hope it is really from some desert. There, that's the sand. Okay, so I've got the sand, I've got the candles, and I've got the brick powder. So I've got everything I need. I just need to figure out where it goes. And those are the messages and my notes. And I'm not missing any obvious controls, am I? Like sprint. Well, apparently you can run with shift. I pressed that and it didn't seem to work. Odd. Right, never mind. That doesn't help now. Well, I mean, it does help, because now I know what the soul key is. I know where to find that. I've just got to collect the rest of the pieces for this little puzzle thing. This strange little wooden pyramid I seem to be constructing. I've just got to figure out where the remaining pieces are and put them together so that we can get access to them. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to walk on your grave, but I have to look for this thing, alright? And I've looked everywhere else and I can't seem to find it, so I'm guessing it's just strewn about the graveyard somewhere. Please forgive me. That one caught me off guard. Okay, Give me a minute. I shall make us some more progress. Oh. Okay. Well, now I've got the gold one, which oddly was the least difficult one to find of all of them, despite the fact that it being presumably the most important, judging by the metal type. I am no closer to solving this conundrum, but never mind. I've searched pretty much the entire graveyard. I've tried to search it extremely carefully, but I have had no luck. Speaking of the medallions, I think I figured out what they're used for. I think they're used here, because you've got these 4 symbols here, and then if you look at these, they've got similar symbols on them. Like this golden one is this one, so the gold one would presumably go there, and then this bronze one is this one, so it would go there, for example. And you could then do the other 2 in the same way, except I don't know where this is. This diagram here makes me think that this is up against a wall. So like somewhere on a wall this thing exists, and I can put the 4 medallions into it, and then possibly that will open the thing in the middle, perhaps? I don't know. I now know what the medallions are used for, I'm certain of it. I just don't know where they're used. And I doubt that that is going to be down in the basement. I don't... unless it's here. Ah, yes. Okay. So, it does it. I felt all clever for working that out, and then I just went and did it by itself.
You got a new method.
Hello? Hello? Dude, what's wrong? I'm calling you for hours. Why didn't you pick up? I've been doing some digging. So whatever you do, stop. Never hear me! You're just getting a lot of...
I could barely make out any of that. He's been trying to call me for an hour and he can't figure out what's going on. Okay. The soul key. Here we are. I was correct. Okay. It turns out, despite the fact that I'm quite ill, my brain's actually working today. Amazing. Right. We have worked it out, and we are down here in the spooky pooky basement. And my light isn't working. Allow me to fix that. I kind of wish I hadn't now. Oh gosh. Hi friends. Are you alright? Are you 3 of the people that disappeared? Is that where your bodies ended up? It somehow wouldn't surprise me. Okay, I don't think there were that many people missing. Some kind of ritual. It looks incomplete. Yeah, so why the hell would I mend it up? Okay, so I can place the candles. I'm not convinced I should place the candles. You're very animated, my friend, and I like that. Looks like he pleaded for his own life. A symbol? Ah, okay. So let me finish these bits off. I didn't like that noise. That was a oh goodness. That was a spooky pokey noise. Idiot. Why does this woman have strange goblin ears stuck on the top of her head? Most bizarre. Okay, can I have a look at that thing? A piece of paper with an odd symbol. It seems to be from a big picture. Yes, so I'm guessing that I can go down these corridors in order to find the other part of the picture. Oh, unless this is some kind of maze. I don't like that. Oh, suddenly now I can sprint. Oh dear, I feel like I'm about to die in a minute if I cannot figure out where the hell it is I'm going. I feel like I should be running to try and get away from the radiation. Presumably judging by my bleeping Geiger counter. But at the same time, I really can't run because I've got myself in a dead end. Wonderful. Because this place is so narrow and enclosed. And now I'm on the brink of death. And now I'm very dead. and that jump scare was extremely different from everything else in the game. Oh no, how far back are you going to put me? Okay, yeah, not too bad then. Alright, that's not the end of the world then. Yeah, you've mucked all this up, but literally mucked it up because you've just chucked it around the place. Have you emptied my inventory? Yes, you have. Why did you do that? Okay, I'm confused, but whatever. Okay, so somewhere there is a monster that's chasing me, and I really need to stop running down these dead ends because they're extremely irritating. So I need to search around this little maze and find the other pieces of paper. Problem with this maze is there's just so many dead ends. You know, having to constantly double back on yourself. It's extremely annoying. But give me a bit of time. I shall try and gather up the other pieces. This may take some time. Oh, hello. Okay. So it seems like I want to read that. Looks like I'm not the only one here, but why would you try to burn that? Probably because it's satanic. You know, I don't wish to prejudge people, but if you're into that sort of thing, you probably deserve to have your pieces of paper set on fire. They're funny looking candles. Just putting that out there. Okay, so perhaps the pieces of paper aren't just like sitting around in corners like I initially anticipated they would be. They will actually be a little bit more obvious than that, so that should make my life quite a bit easier. I appreciate that. Okay, you're not as quick as I thought you were. You have a fascinating character model, and there's no way on earth I'm going to be able to get past you. Oh gosh. Right. Giddy aunt, this could take quite a while. Right, okay. Would you like to know how long I've been doing this for? I have been doing this for over an hour. But never mind, it doesn't matter. I've finally got all 5 of the frickin' pieces. Now what? Now what? Draw a symbol. Alright then. Yes, there. Now, yes, go in. Let it be over frickin' finally. Thank you so much. Oh, someone knocked a candle over. Damn shame, that. Sorry, I wish I had more to say at this moment. It's rather difficult to, think of anything to say. I'm slightly too shit off at the moment. Of strange dance, small whirlwind, finger elongation, and this finger gun pointing demon seem to have come together to perform this crescendo to the game. Ah, that is it. That is it. Right. Okie dokie. So, the game itself is actually really enjoyable. It's really fun, it's really varied, it has a mysterious little story, it does things which are a bit unique, and it has a lot of effort put into it. Oh, a lot of effort put into it, and it's really nice. The maze bit is really, really frustrating though, because I don't know how obvious it was to see, but you enter, and you enter into a circular room where the pentagram is, and then there are 4 corridors that go off. And they lead into 4 mini mazes, right? And you have to take the correct pathway in order to get to a room, which includes some candles, and there'll be a piece of paper. You have to pick up a piece of paper from each of the little mini mazes, and then combine that with the final piece of paper, which is by the pentagram, and then combine that with all the candles and the drawing and the sand and all the rest of it, and then the ritual is ready and you can go. Right? The frustrating thing is that there is a demon that is chasing you the entire time. So when you're going to one of the little mini mazes, you have to take the right pathways, because if you don't take the right pathways, that fine fellow right there will track you down and kill you. And the irritating point about those little mazes is that once he has found you, there is no way to escape him, because there's no areas where you can give him the runaround. Never mind. There are no areas where you can give him the runaround in order to get past him and get behind him. Yeah, there you are. 100 minutes. 100 minutes I was playing that game. For goodness sake. I didn't even earn any of the bloody achievements. So there's no opportunity to get behind him if he does catch you, if you've gone the wrong way down one of the pathways, because almost, well, all of them do lead to dead ends. It's just one of those specific dead ends happens to have a piece of paper in it. So what you end up doing is having to memorize the entire map, basically, where you go into one maze and then you have to remember, like, second left, then second right, then straight forward, then round that bend, then down that corridor, so that you can try and do it. You have to go down exactly the right path, because if you go down the wrong one, he will follow you down that path, he will cut off your avenue of escape, and he will kill you, which is very frustrating. The fact that it doesn't save any of your progress at all after each death is also quite frustrating, because it means you've got to memorise the entire map, each 4 of those little mazes, to then do it, which is incredibly irritating. The only way that you can escape once you have got the piece of paper is that it seems like when you pick up the piece of paper, he then respawns, the demon then respawns back to the beginning, where the ladder, where you first enter the underground zone, which then gives you time to then get out of that little mini maze, get back to the main central chamber, and then head down a different one before he then chases you in there. Which is a nice way of doing it, because it makes the mechanics work, but it is just so frustrating, because then you are going back the way you've come, but because you're looking at everything the other way, because you're going back instead of forward this time, you then forget which lefts and lefts, and because all the lefts have become rights and all the rights have become lefts, and then you get stuck in there for ages and ages and ages, and then when you've got all 4 out of the 5, you then die and have to do it all over again. So it is monstrously frustrating. Really, really difficult. And if that's what they were going for, if their intention was to make a very, very difficult ending, then they have succeeded. I'm not convinced how fun it is. I mean, I'm glad I've got to the end of it, and probably I wouldn't be quite so cheesed off if I wasn't quite so ill at the moment. But the rest of the game is good. The rest of the game is very enjoyable, and it's, as I said, it's unique, and a lot of hard work has clearly gone into it, and it is impressive for a little free thing. It is impressive. It's just immensely difficult at the end, immensely frustrating. With a map, it would be fine. It would be absolutely fine if it had a map. If it gave you a map at the beginning, and then you could just bring that up by pressing tab or something, it needn't mark on where the pieces of paper are, but you could just remember where the pieces of paper are on the map yourself, which would just make it so much easier. And then you wouldn't get stuck. You wouldn't get lost trying to find your way back and stuck in it. Because, yeah, sure, half the time that I wasted because I died and had to go back to the beginning. The other half of the time I wasted was just because I got lost. I just got stuck in loops of going through corridors and turning corners and going around bends and never going anywhere because I was just so completely stuck. It was immensely frustrating, but never mind, it is over now. That is the end of that. Oh dear, but it was fun. It was fun, and I'm glad I got to the end of it. I'm glad I didn't let it defeat me, but yes. I don't know what the actual name of that is. I'm not entirely sure how you'd pronounce it. I think it's the word delete. Which is what I'm going to do in about 5 minutes to make me feel a little bit better about life. Yes, but it was fun. I rather enjoyed it for the most part, and I hope you did as well. So thank you very much for joining me this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Look after each other, and good night. And bring a map with you, for goodness sake, or draw one as you go along, because my word, that was frustrating. If it hadn't been for the age-old trick of stick your left hand on the wall, or I suppose you do it with the right as well, but everyone does it with the left. The ancient maze-solving trick is just to stick your left hand on the wall and then not let go and just walk. Basically, you trace your way entirely around the map, and eventually you are, like, physically going to find it, in terms of the geography. If it hadn't been for that, I never would have got to the end of that. But never mind, I got to the end of the recording, which is the main thing, so never mind. Good night.